everyone, and welcome to Warbrokers Deathmatch Royale. I am going to deal with a problem that I've encountered on the current map of the Dead City. Okay? So as you can see, near the middle of the map, we have 4 cargo ships. But no one ever goes to the 4 cargo ships. Why? Well, why would they? I am going to head over to those cargo ships in this game and show you why nobody ever goes to them and how they can be fixed. So in order to get to these cargo ships, you need to follow a special set of directions. Okay, let's avoid that player there. I have exactly nothing. So you go over to specifically this place, and you go all the way up that ladder. Vulnerable every time. So then you run, jump. Here, I'm going to open this. I need some loot. I have exactly nothing. And you jump over here. Shoot a guy. You don't have to shoot a guy, but always encouraged. And then you go this, W, you click S, and then W really quickly. And then jump down, and you are on the first cargo ship. So no big problem there. But as you see, we go through the cargo ship. Where's the loot? Why did I go through a very long and arduous journey to get to cargo ships if the cargo ships have very weak loot? The best thing that I'm able to get here is the heavy weapons. And personally, I'm going to take the 50 cal. There's no 50 cal. My point here is that there's not enough incentive in loot to go to the cargo ships. I'm going to take this marksman for CQC here. Not that rare, but nice to find. Okay, I got a kill. And as you go up into the next levels, there really isn't that much loot either. There's not much to do. These places here would be great for some sort of radar system to capture, so that you can see locations players, like the computers on Battle Royale. You can't interface with this system at all. And even as we go up to the top, and I try to shoot a player, most everything from my view is sight restricted. I cannot hit through any of these very large, thick structures in order to attack someone. So the very few people who do go near the water, I can attack. But it's not worth it. And it's better to go up and camp at a tower. Now this is the first cargo ship. Right here, southeast. Jump. and hopefully don't fall, and you are at the next cargo ship, which also, again, doesn't have very much loot. Also, there are 0 spawns on the cargo ships or near the cargo ships. So people start very, very far away from the cargo ships. Why would I want to go so far away from where I spawned for such little loot? It is better for me to go to the houses and find loot, because even though those are quite low tier places to go, they're also very close. Yeah. So, summary of what I've said so far. It is too hard to get to them. There is too little loot. And there's no sort of mechanism or system that someone here can activate. There are also no boat vehicles, so you have to do a very, very specific parkour in order to get onto the boat. Next one is right here. You can jump down. And also, you can mess up the order of cargo ships, and if you do, you fall into the sea, and you have to start all the way over again. So just a good thing to mention. They are all very, very similar in how they look. Same boxes here, same boxes there, but they are devoid of ground loot. The only loot that you can find is in, like, the containers, which would have ground loot. But inside of these, rooms, you don't find any ground loot at all. Which means that the only loot that you can find is within these places. There are also no ship hospitals either. There are no places where healing items are likely to spawn. And you would see that each ship in real life would have its small medbay. Because someone on the ship, what if they get injured? What if they need to heal? So I say that the ship should have, or at least a part of the ship, should have a bigger chance of spawning with the white medical packets. So there's another parkour there. Get the timing right. Remember, you have to get the timing right in a very, very specific way. Otherwise, you fall into the ocean. And while the ocean doesn't do any damage, there is no way to move quickly in the ocean, except if you take a car in the water and try to slowly squirm through. And another thing, these ships are very vulnerable to getting shot from the buildings, but the ships have a disadvantage against fighting people from the buildings. So this essentially makes ships a very vulnerable area. So in order to fix this, we need to increase the quality of loot that spawns on the ships. We need to add the ability to use the mechanical systems we see on the ship. For example, this would be radar. It would go pop, it would pop out, and it would give you the ability to see where the enemies are around you. And the person who has control of that gets a map advantage. So essentially, players would go to the ships, or to a ship, probably the middle ship, and fight for that particular radar scanner to be able to find enemies, because there are no radar scanners in DMR. So for the most part, you just have to go towards popular locations and hope for the best. Now, the last ship that we have here is a sinking but grounded ship. Jump from it from here into the water, yes I know. And the problem with this ship is that it stays exactly the same throughout the entire match, and there is almost no loot here. So it is a waste of time to even consider going to this much lower, much worse location, because there's nothing there, no spawns, very little loot, and it's super tilted and vulnerable to enemy attack. So what I think we should have here is have a lot more powerful loot, a lot more rare things. I'm talking like grenade launchers, heavy ammo, 100-round drums, 6x scopes. And they should add a feature where the ship sinks farther and farther and farther down. So that gives players a sense of urgency. Oh, we should probably loot this in the early game, otherwise the loot is going to be water submerged. And the only way to get onto those ships is, again, that very specific way. So if you're pretty far from middle, well, you can't just drive onto a bridge that takes you there. So those are the major reasons why these cargo ships do not have people and why they need to be changed. So as soon as I step off the cargo ships, go off the bridge into the mainland, I see a nearly infinite amount of players. Players are everywhere. As soon as you get off the bridge, they're right next to the dock. Because there's much more loot here, and in turn, there's much more reason to go here. Seeing all the players here, even the noobs that don't know what they're doing, and the pros who know what they're doing, all in the exact same place, tells you that the noobs aren't going and hiding in the cargo ships, because the cargo ships are so bad they would rather risk their lives fighting pros in order to get gear. They have no choice but to either hide in a little house or to play aggressive. So it is a pretty significant thing that these cargo ships are not good enough. So I hope you guys have understood what I've been saying so far, and I also hope that some of this is going to be fixed eventually. As I have done with my video about the state of Deathmatch Royale, they really aren't doing anything significant for this game. So I'm not going to keep my hopes up about if they fix the issues. Yeah. Hope that these get changed, and make sure to like and subscribe.